Well, however, it is uncertain if the parties are close to an agreement. Earlier, I spoke to the head of media and publicity of the Nigeria Labour Congress, Benson Upah. I began by asking him about the latest in the talks for a new minimum wage.
There is not much to report, except that the parties returned to the negotiating table, resumed talks, presented our offer. The last offer was 494, is it 49474? So we did that, and government as usual stalled. Just today, we got another counter offer.
That's today, Friday?
Yes. 2,000 naira on top of what government gave, the 60,000. Government has put 2,000 on top of it. This will be what I would say is the most manifest response from government at the moment. But of course, I'm not sure that's not the only thing the government is doing. Government might have some other plans up its sleeve.
Benson Upah, isn't it right to say Labour seem to push the government into a very uncomfortable situation? At the end of the day, you make it look like the government is not ready to adhere. In this case, 36 state governors have just spoken through the NGF, and I'm quite sure you saw that, the Nigeria Governors Forum, saying 60,000 naira as presented, offered by the federal government, is something that they can't even afford. So if the states can't afford 60, and you still expect the federal government to lift it beyond, above, or rather, 60,000 naira, we seem to be waiting for some kind of jeopardy in the future.
I consider your question as a very unfair question. Nonetheless, I'm going to answer you. We do not push the government to an unenviable position. It's the government that pushes the people to the position that we are now. The government pushed the people to where we are. And Labour acting, speaking for and on behalf of the people, is saying, no, if you go this way, if you go this way, if you go this way, this is what is going to happen. Do you know the value of 60,000? The value of 60,000 is $37. And we're an import-dependent country. We import virtually everything. We import even this rice, even the bag of rice that now costs 70, 80,000 naira. The governors that say that they can't pay, they are the ones acting in a treasonable manner, because their intention is to mass kill Nigerians. None of them gives their girlfriend 60,000 naira to make their hair.
You think they have girlfriends?
Are you saying they don't have?
Anyway, it looks like...
No. Are you saying they do not have?
Because
so, answer my question. So the issue remains this way. I'm continuing. So, you give 60,000 for a family of 6 to feed. The issue of capacity to pay. Let us speak to it clearly. Directly speaking, FAC, what they share in FAC has moved from 700 billion to 1.2 trillion. That is one. Second, nobody is talking about what political office holders earn. Councillors, irrespective of the status, the economic status of the state, earn the same thing. State House of Assembly.
Let me bring this quickly.
Yes.
From the statement which is signed by Halima Salih Ahmed, who's the director, acting director of media affairs at the NGF, she specifically said, well, all things considered, the NGF holds that the 60,000 naira minimum wage proposal is not sustainable and cannot fly. It will simply mean that many states will spend all their FAC allocations on just paying salaries with nothing left for the development purposes. So my question here now, let's close on this. If the government, the federal government, decides to up this to the level that Labour agrees with, you have a problem with the states. What then will be the next move of Labour without it affecting or disrupting the activities of the government at the centre?
Let us first and foremost look at the veracity or otherwise of the claim by the director of media, whoever, on the Governors Forum. And let us look at the books. I have just told you that what they declare in the open and what is shareable has moved from 700 billion to 1.2 trillion and is still climbing. 2, I have made this point again and again. Why are they not looking at the cost of governance? Do you know what constitutes the retinue of a governor? Does a governor need 10, 15 SUV vehicles? Does he need all that follows him to be able to perform his duties? Does the governor need the budgetary provision for feeding every day in government house? Does the governor need that? Does the governor need the money that is appropriated for security vote? We are just looking at leakages, coming to brazen acts of corruption. We have brazen acts of corruption. Tame them, minimize them, let them render service, and not to pack the resources of the state. And let me tell you this.
You're yet to answer my question, and the question is,
what's your question?
What would you do if you are now left to deal with the states when the federal government accedes to your request?
I said, let us look at the issue, the veracity of that first before we come to what we do. Because we believe that this is doable. That is our position. That the governors can do better than that. And that we also, I want to use this opportunity to explain that the national minimum wage is not synonymous with uniform pay structure for the states. The national minimum wage is the floor set across the country below which no employer is allowed to pay. Because if you pay below that floor, you are going to create miserably poor people. You're going to create communities of the working poor. The moment you do that, you will continue to deepen poverty, because poverty does not elevate poverty. All right? So the states are allowed to pay what they are able to pay, and this has been the situation. Very seldom do you find two states having the same structure. We are not tampering with that. The states pay what they're able to pay, but the national minimum wage should be the national minimum wage. Even the states can set up their national minimum wage.
So in other
But
words-
except that it should not be lower than the national minimum wage.